It's pretty dead. It's pretty dead. All right, today is the day we turn this into this. Brian here from the future with a quick note. See, this is the first in a series of 3 videos produced in collaboration with and sponsored by GIK Acoustics. GIK Acoustics is a leader in the acoustic treatment space for professional studios, but increasingly for home and project studios as well. In this video, you get to watch me struggle through the physical build out of the space I'm now in. In the next video, you'll see a conversation with John, the room planner from GIK Acoustics, who designed the plan for this room. He'll talk us through why he chose the panels he did, what each of their purpose is, and things you should be aware of in your space. And finally, the third video in this series will be a litany of before and after sound samples on everything from spoken word and podcast to YouTube and content creation to live and recorded music. All right, back to the guy who has no idea the day that's in store for him. So how do we get there? Actually, I'm kind of jealous. You get to see the final result. I don't even know what it looks like yet. All right, first up, we got to get the bass traps into the back corners. 2 of them over there, 2 of them over there. I've got 7.5-foot ceilings, which is kind of unusual these days because this house was built in the early 60s. 8-foot ceilings mean we could just do 2 4-foot bass traps and they would stack perfectly right to the ceiling. Unfortunately, we can't do that. All right, so here's what we're working with today. I got all of the acoustic panels lined up here in a spare bedroom in my house. Those of you who follow the channel know that we just moved in here 8 or 9 months ago. If you're new and just watching this series, that's why this room, which will eventually be a guest room, looks like a total disaster. Right here, we've got 2 impression panels. These are 1 feet wide by 4 feet tall. We've got the bubbles and a gray veneer scatter plate. Over here we've got 3 general purpose absorption panels. 2 more impression panels. These ones are bass traps with this awesome DigiWave design with a scatter plate and gray veneer as well. 2 giant 4-foot bass traps and 2 identical 3-foot bass traps in charcoal gray.
We get down to the beat, y'all. We get down to the beat, y'all.
Just a few days ago, I had an amazing video chat with John. The most important thing that he told me with these is that they don't really need to be mounted to the wall. They can just be stacked on top of each other. He recommended that the top one, that I actually put a like a fisheye hook into the corner of the wall and use some picture wire. They all came with picture wire to make sure that if anything happened, the top one didn't come toppling down. I don't have any of those on hand. I'll do that at a later date, but for now, I'm just gonna stack these 2 in each corner. Let's start with this corner. This 3-foot one should go to about 6 inches below the ceiling. Here we go. 1 here, 1 here. And so you would do a loop between the wall like this. This would be the corner of the wall. And you do a triangular loop with the picture wire. And that'll just keep that top one from tumbling down. This corner is a little bit trickier. Here's what I'm looking at back here. I've got another one of these power strips. I'm gonna turn this off for right now.
It's like we're losing our track of time. I just got one thing on my mind.
That is exactly why you're supposed to screw it in at the top. I've got it balanced. This one's precarious though. I have a feeling I'm definitely gonna need to go out and get some of those eye hooks, but let's keep pressing on. You know, in a few minutes, I'm gonna have to be banging stuff into this wall to put the impression panels on either side of this window, and I'm worried that when I start banging into that, these things are just gonna fall down. So, as long as I'm out and about, I may as well stop in at my favorite local cafe. This is excellent. It is way, way warmer today than I thought it was gonna be. I am way overdressed in this jacket. Okay. Eye hooks, some extra tooth saw things, just in case I need those. Now I gotta do it. I don't know if you can tell, but the difference already in this room with just having these giant bass traps on the walls, there's already so much less bass buildup, and that's just with 4 of these. There's 7 more panels to go. So this, I'm like very excited right now. I am not handy, and so when it comes to stuff like this, it's a real crapshoot for me. Is that the right size for a pilot hole? Can't tell. How do I grip this to get it in? This thing is about 6 inches from the ceiling, and I probably want to go about 2 inches below that. That was so easy, it really makes me nervous I didn't do it right. I feel like I should have done the ceiling ones that are open on one side, because then I could have made the triangle and hung it. This will be fine for right now. I may redo it. All right. Impression panels that are gonna go on either side of the window back here. Now, I'm gonna say something stupid. These should be relatively easy. Put 2 nails in the wall and hang it, and that should be it. This was a gift from my mom when my book came out. Beautiful. There's 6 total of these, and I assume that's just 1 for each of these, and then 2 for each of the big impression bass traps. See if we can get that a little bit straighter, but it's definitely up there. And there we are. Look at this. Both of the impression panels are up. So now this wall is starting to look like a studio. I think the hair has made it as long as it's gonna make it today. It's going up. We've changed directions. I've got all the lights facing this way now so that I can start working on everything on this side of the room now that we've got the absorption. First things first, I've got 2 of these. One of them I haven't even unpacked yet, but 2 of these. These are 4-inch thick impression bass traps. These are gonna go directly behind the studio monitors. All right, after a lot of measuring, I've decided it's gonna go right about there.
Break it down to the beat, y'all.
I'm so nervous to see if this is level or not. Oh, yes, yes, look at that. Boom, that is level right in the freaking middle. We're losing daylight. I've been at this for a long time, and I think I'm only about half done. 1 more impression panel. I ran back to the hardware store and got these ceiling eye hooks. I'm gonna use them in place of the ones that I did on these bass traps. I don't think I fully explained earlier what went wrong up there. I had these eye hooks, but once I put them in the wall, I realized what I really need to do is make a loop on the back with the wire, make a loop on the back of each of the traps. Use that as a triangular, right, to like put the thing on the wall. But with these, there's no way to put it on the wall after you've after you screw this in. I can screw in place of these and then make a looper on the back and then hang it in place. I dropped one of the screws, and so now I'm missing a screw and I cannot find it. I have no idea where it went, and I've been searching for it. It must have bounced. It's silver and I got a gray carpet. You would think by now I would have stumbled upon it, but I cannot find it anywhere. Since apparently my powers have failed me, I'm just going to move on. That's not bad. Right in the middle. Status update. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces. It's 5 o'clock. I've been at this for 4 straight hours. I don't even know where to put anything anymore. These are just absorption. I gotta get the stands. Boo. All right, so where did he come from? Here's what we're dealing with. Each of these has 2 stands, little hardware kit. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with these. Click here for instructions. A whole thing there. Huzzah! Look at this. Woo! There we go. And let me just say, how interesting it is that how repetition, how quickly you get better at something, you get more comfortable with something. Because the first one obviously took me a while, and I struggled with it because I didn't know what I was doing. The second one took me the span of probably 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. Nothing has changed. And we just have one left. The last one, the final purple one, is going right here on the ceiling, right above the mixing console. So if I'm right here, and I've got a shot that goes from here off the ceiling and comes down and hits my ears, this is where I want it to go. So if you look where I am, it's here straight up. If it was directly over my head, it would be here, which would be out in front of the table. Now, this one's gonna be about halfway. If you imagine that, like, if it's 2 feet wide, that a foot of it's this way and a foot of it's this way, directly overhead. Here is my cloud mount bracket. I have no idea how to install this thing yet, but we're gonna figure it out together. Do be careful, these are really sharp. These each just go on like this. Don't let my complete lack of strength make you think that this is a hard thing to do. That's just me. Measure and mark toggle bolt placement on ceiling 23.5 inches apart. 23.25. This might be a slightly different system. These instructions might be from a slightly different build, and these things are made by people. They're not made by machines. So 37.5 is how far the front of the desk is away from the wall. That's exactly where I want the midpoint of this to be, is right there. Now I gotta get toggle bolts. I think that means I have to drill straight up. It didn't occur to me until just now I'm gonna be drilling right into the ceiling, like, 2 inches away from it, which means I'm gonna have stuff coming right down, and I don't have protective eyewear anywhere. I don't own that. I'm gonna try to use, I'm not trying to look cool, I'm gonna try to use these close to my face to try to avoid anything getting into my eye. Can't have dust and debris getting into my gear. These I have because I've done drywall work before. Is this the thumbnail? I can't tell. This might be the thumbnail. Okay. Before I do this next one, let me just double check my measurement. And this goes up, and on the other side, it opens and it can't come out. Oh, worked like a charm. Oh, jeez. Ha, ha, ha. All right. So guess what I just did? It's not gonna matter. Oh no, it is gonna matter. Here's the big mistake I just made. I just did the 2 toggle bolts in the holes left and right, because I was thinking this is gonna go up here. Except brackets are on the opposite sides. Toggle bolts need to go front and back. Now, it's not gonna matter once that's up there, because that's gonna get hidden, but that means I have to redo everything I just did. Oh man, I have to remeasure. I turn the cameras off. I do it. I'll click back in when I'm actually mounting it. Learn from my mistake. Don't do that. I think that's it. And there you have it. That is the acoustic treatment build. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 acoustic panels. You cannot believe the difference in sound. My wife walked into the room kind of like almost done, when the only thing I had left to do was the cloud on the ceiling. And she came in, and from just walking in from the hallway into the studio, it sounded like the whole room just got quiet. Like you could just feel that it's quieter in this room. It's kind of spectacular. I can already hear that the bass buildup is gone. I can hear that the echo, for the most part, is gone. I'm blown away right now. This is fantastic. I can't believe that the echo is gone. I mean, hey, Brian Miller here, author, speaker, magician, podcast host, and audio nerd. Hey, Brian Miller here, author, speaker, magician, podcast host, and audio nerd. And it's pretty dead. It's pretty dead. This is, if anything, this is overkill for YouTube creators, for content creators on the internet. What I just did was probably overkill. You probably wouldn't need to do nearly as much as I just did to get great results. But man, oh man, doing what I just did is it's going to make making videos and podcasts and voiceover and all that stuff in this room a blessing. Oh, tell me this doesn't look sexy. All right, listen, my name is Brian Miller. Thanks so much for coming on this journey with me. Stay tuned for part 2, coming in just a few days. And I'll see you next time. One more shout out to our sponsor, GIK Acoustics. Check the link in the description to find out what they can do for your space and your sound.
You want to think of your room as a Coke bottle, more or less. So like you blow against a Coke bottle, it's going to produce a note. That's the resonance of the Coke bottle. Your room is a huge Coke bottle. And if you had a mouth big enough to blow on the door, it would make a note. But aside from that, every sound that's produced within your Coke bottle is going to be subjected to the resonant behavior of that enclosure.